My name is Damien Horne from Hickory, North Carolina, now living in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm a musician. I'm a musician by trade, but I also do a lot of public motivational speaking as well.
So describe your songwriting process.
The songwriting process for me kind of comes in a lot of different ways. Sometimes it's either through a melody first, lyric first, maybe a chord progression, either on the guitar or piano, and it usually comes from things that I've experienced or something I've maybe had a conversation about or other people experiences. I usually pull from a place that is real for me. And in Nashville, it's such a melting pot for like writers. So a lot of times you collaborate with different writers, and you maybe have 2 or 3 other people in the room, and you kind of just bounce ideas off each other and just kind of start with a central theme or a topic, and then you just build the story around that.
Is there a difference in writing and playing within a band structure as opposed to being a solo artist?
Yeah, because when you have that band, just kind of like with co-writing, you have other different, have different personalities, different styles that come into play, and you got to find a way to take all that in consideration and construct something collectively, as opposed to writing as a solo artist. A lot of times I'm just I'm the only governor on what is the final say. So it can be different, but the cool thing about being able to write with other people, it stretches you as an artist and as a writer. It allows you to go places maybe, through that compromise. Sometimes it allows you to go places maybe you would have never tried before or done before.
So what's one tip you would have for someone looking to start playing the guitar?
One of the biggest things I tell people all the time is a lot of people think, like it's about cramming super long hours, here and there and stuff like that. Anytime you're learning an instrument, it's about the consistency of it. It doesn't even have to necessarily be the longest hours every day, but you need to do something every day with that instrument. And when playing the guitar, it's really important because you have to build a callus up on your fingers and things like that. And that becomes really important when playing, because when you first start off, your fingers are hurting and it's like, it's hurting your fingers. But, you build up those calluses, you do it every day, and it helps with the transitioning and just getting better faster.
Give us a good trick or a shortcut you use in recording a song.
For me, it's about laying it down in layers. There's a lot of different ways to do it. And Nashville typically has a style of, you get a lot of, you kind of get a band together in a room, and Nashville style a little bit is like about, everybody kind of charting out the song and then playing it at once, and everybody kind of picking parts that they want to improve on and things like that. My personal way of doing it is just building track by track. I kind of put down, first of all, what created the song for me, whether that be a guitar riff or a piano progression or something like that. I kind of lay that down with vocals, and then because that usually has the groove, it has the feel that I want, and then I build around that, and so, shortcuts to that is just like, I feel like the important thing for me in doing that is like, if I can lay that part down first, then it makes it easier to put everything else around it, and people have different approaches, but for me, that's the easiest way to do that.
What rule of country music do you always follow, no matter what?
There's a saying in country music a lot of times, it's just 4 chords and the truth. Come up with 4 chords and the truth. Just tell the truth over 4 chords, and you got yourself a hit country song. Now, I tend to stray away from the 4 chords at times, but I always stick to the truth. Something that's true, that resonates with me. I think country is still one of those genres of music where, like, it has an integrity about it. And me, it's like, keep it simple and tell the truth. Like, simplicity of it and the truth in the story or what you're writing usually goes over pretty well.
So, who's the coolest person you've met in the music mafia?
Coolest person? Oh, okay. The coolest. Oh, they're all gonna be mad at me because I got to pick one. But I would first like to make the disclaimer: they are all cool. I'm gonna tell you this. There's a guy named Shannon Lawson who's a part of the music mafia, He's been around a while. He's done a lot of stuff with James Otto and has a huge, career of his own. He's just got this swagger about him that I really dig. Shannon Lawson, we call him the Law Dog, and there's so many, cool characters within the music mafia. But he's always been one of those guys who I felt like, he's a shorter dude, but his presence is so big. It's just like, he's just, when he's in the room, Shannon Lawson's in the room, and he's just cool, and his music is phenomenal.
Tell people what the Music Mafia is if they don't know.
Well, Music Mafia is just a collection of artists who had this premise of like, music without prejudice. And it was one of the things that drew me to it, other than, like I said, John Rich discovered me on the side of the street. And I wasn't playing country music at the time. I was actually in like a rock band, a band that was kind of like a Pearl Jam kind of wannabe type band. And I had long dreadlocks at the time, and I was sitting on the side of the street. But they were all about good music. They didn't care if it was rock, country, hip hop, R&B, whatever it was. They're just like, no, we want good music. And it was also at that time a very anti-establishment, group. Like it was people who like they felt like the music industry was like, had been taking advantage of people and not doing them right, and you lost a lot of freedoms, in what you wanted to do and create as an artist. And so they were very anti that. So like we would do these shows. But like if you were a part of the industry in that way, you were not allowed in this show. Like everybody else could come in for free. Uniting people with music and just enjoying, the creative process. I love that part of it.
I would love for you to share one life lesson that you teach in your speaking.
I'll do that. So I believe, the one I tend to talk about most is Shine. I have a song called Shine that was featured in this movie called Chloe and Theo, and it's basically, the movie is about people, the way we treat our environment and the way we treat each other as people. And but the song Shine is based on the premise. There's a quote by Marianne Williamson, kind of paraphrasing. It was like in the movie Coach Carter and A Killer Bee, like our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate, but that we're powerful beyond belief. And like sometimes that power is scary to us. And it kind of goes back into what I was saying about tapping into who we are. I think we're all put here for a purpose. I think we all have purpose in life. Some people find that earlier. Some people find that later in life. Some people spend most of their lives searching for that. But I think the important thing is finding out what that purpose is, finding out who is the giver of purpose, first of all, finding out what that purpose is, and then living that purpose out. And when you do that, you shine. And so that's like my mantra is shining. The thing about that is like a lot of people take that in a kind of sense of like, well, then it's like all about me. No, it's not like that. Because when you shine, you liberate other people to do the same thing. Like people look at my life and like, man, he did this and he did that, he did that. Well, like if he can come from that and do this, then I could too. You know what I'm saying? And so that's about finding that purpose and living it out. And then you shine. Because then, it pushes out dark. You know what I'm saying? And then like, man, purpose, when you have purpose in life, it makes everything easier. You love easier. You connect with people easier. Life is easier. It's just like all around. So it's about shining. You can find me at DamienHorne.com. All my social medias are under my name, Damien Horne. I also have a blog called EncourageInspireMotivate.com, and it's just a landing page for great things are going on. So if people are looking for a place to have stuff good that they're doing in the world, highlight it. I'm always looking for that stuff as well. It's just kind of like what you're doing. You're just highlighting good that's going on. And then and also I have a Twitter handle called StayInspired07. And yeah. Easy to find. All of it. Everything's on my name, Damien Horne, DamienHorne.
Thank you so much, sir, for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, no problem. Thank you. I'm glad it worked out, man. I'm so excited about it. Thanks for the opportunity, man. Like we're after the same thing and we're on the same team, so it's good. Like we can connect and just spread that goodness out like that. When I got here, so I was always trying to write and mimic what other people were doing, and somebody told me, hey, just do what naturally comes out of you. Just like sit down and find out what naturally comes out of you and see where that takes you. And the moment I start doing that is when everything started changing for me. And so I would just say that to introverts, extroverts, anybody alike as an artist, it's like tap into what you are uniquely, because when you do that, then there's room for you. You know what I'm saying? When you're trying to be somebody else, they already got that. You know what I'm saying? So when you find out who you are uniquely, like there's always going to be room for who you are as an individual, because there's only one of you. So it's just like, so you just have to make that the best that you can be.
What's a dream venue that you haven't played at yet?
Oh, okay, yeah, this is good. I've played a lot, but I've heard so much about it. I have friends who've played it but for some reason I haven't played Red Rocks yet. And I just, I always hear about how beautiful it is, and I've been there, but I've never had actually played the stage. I've been there with other friends of mine who played it. So I'm looking forward to playing that one day. And it's just because of, it's one of those kind of staples for artists who go through and play, big stadiums and amphitheaters and arenas and stuff. Just people always talk about it just because the backdrop is beautiful, just the landscape.
Have you played the Grand Ole Opry?
I have. I played both. I played the Grand Ole Opry and I played the Ryman. So both of those, the actual Mother Church and the Grand Ole Opry as well. I've played both of those probably 4 or 5 times a piece. But though that was like a huge, like honor for me. I got to play it with my band, The Farm, and then I also got to play it as a solo artist with some other solo artists to kind of promote fundraising for the African Children's Choir, and a couple other times for different things. But yeah, that was definitely like one of those dreams come true.
Yeah, for most country artists, if they haven't played there, that's the one that they always go to.
Yeah, it is. Well, and if you would have asked me this, some years back, that would have been my first. That would have been my first one. It's definitely a rites of passage. To play that is kind of like country music, welcoming you, like saying, okay, yeah, we accept you. So that was a big deal for me.
What would you like to see make a comeback in country music?
Old school country. That's like, yeah, I'm a fan of the old school style of music, from the days of, Merle and Johnny Cash, George Jones, George Strait, that world of that music, I feel like country today and this is what happens in all music, it evolves, and it also has like a cycle, things kind of come around, and I feel like it'll come back. But right now I feel like country is more in a pop phase. I can listen to a country song today and it kind of feels like pop music to me, which is great. But we have pop music, we have that kind of stuff. But what I enjoyed about country music is the 4 chords and the truth. I love the old school storytelling, and I love the integrity of the music. That's what drew me to country. So to see a little bit more of that, but I already see it coming around. Artists like, one of my favorite artists is Chris Stapleton, and just recently at the awards, he got a lot of notoriety and stuff for the things he's been doing. So I feel like that shift is coming.
So more steel guitar and fiddle.
Yeah.
Shine, so everybody can shine too. Open your heart and lead the way. You don't have to be afraid. It's in you to rise high above your greatest fears. And with a little bit of light, you can make it brighter here. Everybody shine.